Welcome back, or welcome for the very first time to Worms and Warriors. We're here with Grand Tactician, the Civil War, 1861 to 65. This is our Confederate campaign. It'll be my first new campaign on this game for quite some time, so I might be a little bit rusty on the game, but that should all add to the fun. I have added the custom commanders that have been requested, so from this point forth, there'll be no further custom commanders available to viewers. However, if you still wish to pick a unit to be in the game, then just drop that in the comments and I'll add that in when I can. For now, we're going to have a quick look at the setup. And we're going to have a little talk about some of the units that have already been requested. But first, I'm just going to go into the settings here and I'm going to turn this music down, because even though I've got it turned right down, I think it's still a bit too loud. And just while I'm here, just a quick look at the settings. I mean, everything is pretty much standard. I haven't really changed much at all, other than the volumes, because obviously I'm recording, which makes a difference. Yeah, just standard setup. So hopefully we'll be good to go here with no slowdowns in the larger battles, which does happen sometimes, even though I've got a fairly decent gaming rig. I mean, I've got a 3070 in here. You know, it's a pretty decent setup, but it still struggles with this game for some reason sometimes. I don't really know why, but it does. Anyway, that's enough of that. So we're going to go into the campaign. We are starting in the summer of 61, as I usually do. It says AOM here from the AOM mod. I have left bits of the AOM mod in this, in the sense that the commanders are still in here. So all the custom commanders, as far as I'm aware, are still in game. We'll find out, I guess. I have obviously added the new commanders for viewers who've requested those. And I have listened to the comments, so I have read them all, of course. Not that there was millions, but there was quite a few. And it seems that native allies is not something that people want to go with. So, well, personally, I quite like the native allies one, but lots of people have mentioned that they would like to see southern industrialization. So we're going to take off native allies, and I'm going to go ahead with that. I mean, I wasn't going to, but I figure you guys are watching this, so we'll do it how you want. And actually, I had planned to do a bit of building anyway, so industrialization could be a good one. So the starting setup is going to be Old Dominion, King Cotton, and industrialization. If you're not familiar with this game, then why not check out some of my earlier series, some of the earlier playthroughs. There's quite a few on this channel, and check it out. I'll go into a lot more details in of what all these options are in the setup of those videos. So if you are interested, head on over there and check those out. I don't really want to go through this again, because obviously I've already done this a lot of times, and I guess viewers don't want to see it. Same with this. I'll just have a quick scroll through here while I'm talking. So if you want to read this, then you can go right ahead and read through it, but I'm not going to read all this again. But if you want to, then obviously this is your opportunity to read that. Pause it at your leisure, go through it, whatever you want to do. There's a few times I've been through it here. So pause it whatever you like, whatever you want to do, and let's get on with this. Okay, so the summer of 1861 is my favourite start in this game. Well, I did like the 64 start as well, actually, but the summer of 61 is probably the best one to start with. And we're starting here with Confederate momentum, so it's like the ball's in our court, so to speak. Things are fairly even at this stage of the war. Fairly even. So we're starting off with equal morale, 95 each. Experience, 8 for the Union, 9 for us. 75,000 men fielded for the Federals, and 50,000 for the CSA. So, I mean, they do have a numerical advantage, but the onus is on the Union to invade at this stage of the war, well, substantially. I mean, and throughout the war, of course. So the number disparity is not as bad as it seems. I mean, 25,000 men is 25,000 men. Ships, 75 to the Union, 35 to us. In previous versions of the game, the AI has not really utilised their navy very much. And like I say, I have not played this game now for, it must be 6 or 7 months. And I'm hoping there's been some improvement to the AI. We are running on version 1.1233, so that's the latest version. The latest version of this game, which the game's been out for a while now, but a new DLC came out, Whiskey and Lemons, which I haven't got. I really don't like the look of it, to be honest. I have checked it out. I've watched a few people's playthroughs on there, and I have enjoyed watching them. But I don't think it's for me, really. But I might get to it at some point. Right. So that's the starting setup. We're going to be the CSA, summer of 61, and we're playing this on the usual very hard and elevated aggressiveness. So Some people have this set to very high. Personally, I don't like it on very high. It's just, you're going to have endless battles, endless, and it becomes dull, and the AI just throws everything he's got at you. So if you're sitting this to elevated, I feel that's more doable. Very hard, I mean, that goes without saying, really. Although it does feel like the AI gets quite a lot of cheats on very hard, but, you know. So, what else is there to say? Not much. We're going to turn off the auto-manage. I'll leave the feuds off. If you're a viewer of this channel, you know I always have the feuds off. I don't think it's realistic. I know there were feuds between commanders in this game, but... in this war, as there are in all wars, but it feels unrealistic in this game to me. I mean, if you like playing with the feuds, that's fair enough, but I really just don't like it at all. Right. So, with all that being said, July the 8th, this is the starting point, 1861, over by Christmas. Well, it might be, but it probably won't be, and it certainly wasn't historically. I'm sure most of you guys watching this will be Civil War nerds in one way or another, like I am myself, but we all know it was not over by Christmas. A very bloody war is about to start here, in earnest. I know it started back in April, but like July the 8th, this is when the war really starts kicking in. The lead up to Bull Run and so on. Or Manassas, depending on your point of view. But anyway, so I'm going to actually get started here. So we're going to get going and we're going to fire this up. And the game's loading in. It feels like it's been a long time since I've done this. Where I used to play this game all the time, and I used to play it on here all the time. I mean, you know, and I haven't done for a long time. And I have actually missed playing it. I think I overdid it a bit, so I've probably done, I don't know, maybe 200 videos on this game. And I feel like I did it too much. There's only so many times you can invade Missouri. And here we are on the main screen. It's early days, and the front lines are looking like this, of course. This is how the game starts. We've got a Union garrison at Fort Pickens. We've got a few Union garrisons dotted around here at southern Florida. But other than that, everything in the south is controlled by the Confederacy, of course. The split is here on the Arkansas-Missouri border, the Tennessee-Kentucky border. Kentucky is still neutral at this point. Virginia, a little bit of like Northwest Virginia is in Union hands, but other than that, it's all in Confederate hands up to Alexandria. Just here, right on the border with Washington, D.C. Our capital, of course, Richmond here. Washington, D.C. over here. Some other key points on the map. I mean, I know everyone will probably know this already. I just thought I would point out some of the major ports and things like that. So we've got Wilmington, Charleston, Savannah, and Jacksonville on this eastern seaboard. And then moving a bit further inland, Columbia is a nice big city. Well, town, I guess. I don't know. Charlotte, Raleigh. Then we've got a few up here in Virginia, Petersburg, Lynchburg, Charleston in Western Virginia. This is not West Virginia yet, the state. It's just like the western region of Virginia. Then we've got Nashville, which we'll be trying to hold, of course. Atlanta, industrial centre for the South, such as it is. Montgomery, which was, of course, the capital before Richmond. What else we got? I'm probably missing some stuff here. Tallahassee, the state capital of Florida, I believe. Pensacola, down on the south coast. New Orleans, of course. Mobile. And further west, Fort Smith over here. Down in Arkansas. Little Rock. And moving up here, St. Louis, of course, and Rolla. I suspect that'll be involved in some way as well. It's like a kind of crossroads right here in the middle of Missouri. So, that's that. If I've missed any key points, do feel free to point them out in the comments. The strategy then. What is the strategy? My strategy usually is to hold them in the east, and that's going to be the strategy again at this point. I think the east gets emphasized. However you say it. Anyway, the east, we'll just try to hold them. We'll fight a defensive fight in the east. Kentucky is going to be a bit of a distraction. So, quite often it works that like a lot of resources get pulled into Kentucky and to fight for Kentucky. We're not going to really do that. I'm going to try and run with a couple of small corps in Tennessee and Kentucky. We're going to have an eastern force in Kentucky, like based around the Cumberland Gap. We're going to see if we can cause them some grief in eastern Kentucky. And if things get too grim, we can always pull back through the gap and set up a defensive fight here. We're going to have a force around Nashville because I do not want to lose Nashville. And we're also going to sort of push north here into the Hartford area. Maybe threaten Louisville, but I'm not sure. We'll see how that goes. So we'll keep quite a small force in Tennessee. My main emphasis, I can't speak today. My main objective, my main thing is going to be to push up the Mississippi. So we're going to push up here. The Cairo has got to be the number one target for us. I want to capture Cairo, Illinois. Once we capture that, we can work on splitting the Union in two. So we're going to work from Cairo, possibly to Evansville, and work our way up towards Chicago. Maybe we'll go via St. Louis. Depends on what he does with his troops, but it should be an interesting sort of thing. That's the main focus here. So I'm going to load up the western edge of Tennessee here, maybe around Jackson, and we're going to just push up. We'll push up from here, see if we can take Cairo. We'll build a bunch of depots, so I want to make Jackson into a massive depot, and that's going to be supplied from Nashville and Memphis. So we're going to work at that, and we're going to push up north. Cairo is the objective, really. Again, in this Trans-Mississippi theater, the Union doesn't have that many troops to start with, but they usually flood this up with troops, which is a problem. So I'm going to try and maintain a decent-sized army over here in Arkansas and Missouri, which can possibly push up and take St. Louis. From there, they'll be joining the forces from the Western Tennessee Army. So we're going to try and join this together like a pincer movement, pushing up from this area and from this area. It's difficult going through this southern Missouri section because supply is a problem, the roads aren't great, and the Union usually has a lot of troops there by kind of the end of 61, early 62. So it's going to be tough. It's always a tough ask as the Confederacy. This is not an easy game, really. I mean, not really. It can be, but it's not dead easy. So that's the kind of overview of the strategy. If you have any strategy ideas, I'm always happy to hear them. Pop them in the comments, or if you're not part of the Discord, why not come and join the Discord server? I'll put a little link in the description and maybe up in the top of the screen here if I can do it. And if I remember to do it, why not come and check that out and come and chat with us. There's only about 22 people in there, and we have some good discussions about this game and others, as well as just some general history chit chat. So if you're into that kind of thing, why not come and say hello? People always ask me about my accent as well. I'm from northeast England, so I live in a place called County Durham, which is probably why I sound a bit strange to some people, I guess. You may have heard of Newcastle. It's kind of close to here. But other than that, you've probably not heard of it. Durham, near here. But yep, that's where I'm from. That's why I have this strange accent, I guess. Well, strange if you don't know it. Okay, so that's the overview of the strategy. We're going to build a little bit of industry. And we're going to have a quick look at these policies, okay? So policies, again, we're going to obviously work on industrialization because we've picked the industrialization perk, so there would be no point not doing that. But that's not going to be first. I'm not sure what I'm actually going to do first, but probably Military Act 2 to open up some more recruits, because we don't start off with that many. Let's have a quick look what we get actually in the way of starting. So we get 52,238 new recruits that are available to us, spread across the various different states and so on. So for example, we've got 6,000 men from Alabama, and a spattering of troops around here from Arizona, Delaware. I mean, with a support of 35, those troops are probably not going to be that usable anyway. From the Indian Territories, 486 men. Georgia's got 6,000. Kentucky, 4,500. But again, support's only at 45, so that's questionable. Kansas, 492 men. Not many. But we can use those guys. So, like, for example, the guys from Kansas, we could get some artillery batteries and put them in a fort or something like that to help with garrisoning. North Carolina, we've got 8,200 men available. Mississippi has got 2,300 for us. Maryland, support 30, which I think is ridiculous, really, because those guys who are volunteering from Maryland, surely they wouldn't have 30. But I'm pretty sure if you recruit troops from there, they end up with really low morale, I think. Anyway, I can't quite remember, but I'm going to have a look and I'll see what they come out like. What else we got here? West Virginia, 1,500 men again, 35 support. Seems crazy. We've got no dudes from Virginia itself. We've already fielded 14,500 men from Virginia. Texas has got 5,800 for us, so that's going to form the basis of our western force there. Tennessee, 5,000 men, again, very, very handy, and 3,500 men from South Carolina. So quite a lot available, but we've got to keep half an eye on things like manpower. So if we're building, let's have a look. If we're building industry, for example, I'm just going to pop this up here. I'm not building this just now. So we're going to have a workforce. So we can see we've got workforce dotted around, mostly around like the population centers, obviously. I mean, you're going to say obviously here. So quite a lot here at Memphis. But if we start recruiting all the men that are available from there, then the manpower will go down. That obviously makes sense, doesn't it? So if we say we recruit everybody who's available from Tennessee, then the manpower number will go down. I don't want to spend too much time waffling on and stuff like that. I'm just kind of going over the basics here. And just a quick note that this video is always, all my videos are always chaptered. So if you don't want to watch these bits, you can skip ahead to wherever it is you want to go to. The gameplay style is fairly slow. I don't rush through things really. So if you're hoping for battle after battle after battle, this is probably not the channel for you. But we will fight a lot of battles. But I do take my time with things. I like to talk things through and talk about what I'm thinking and planning. So any involvement in comments is awesome. I love chatting with guys in the comments. So any of you gents have opinions, put them in there. I say gents because I think I've got like 1 or 2 female subscribers. Other than that, everyone here is a dude. Which again is not surprising really when you think of the content that we do here. But anyway, that's not to say women don't like the Civil War and war games, but I think the majority will be men, and that is just fine. Anyway, so there we are with that. So I'm going to now cut out of this, and I'm going to enter the viewer units that have been requested so far. When I've done that, I'll cut back in, and we'll start the game proper. Alright, so again, if you want a unit, it's not too late to add one in. Pop it in the comments, let me know what you want. What do I need from you? If you want a unit, I will need the name for the unit. I will need a request for weapons, but bear in mind we haven't really got that many weapons. So if you've got a specific request, I will try and fulfill that, but I can't always do it. Uniform types, you've got something you would like, and a commander. This will have to be a historical commander, as I've just said, because you can't add more commanders once the game has started. And obviously, don't pick the famous dudes because they will be commanding larger forces like divisions and stuff. Like, so for example, if you're asking for an infantry brigade from Virginia and you want Stonewall Jackson in charge, chances are that's not going to happen. Alright, so I'm going to cut out and I'm going to put these units in. I'll catch you in a bit. Alright then, so we're back to it. I've put the units in and there was not really any problems except for one, which I'll get to in a moment. I don't really know what's going on here, but we'll get to that in just a minute. Before I get into the recruited units, if you're new here, why not hit that subscribe button? It'd be awesome if you did that, because it really helps little channels like this out. I mean, just gone over 1,000 subscribers, which is great. It would be nice to grow a bit more and get more people watching. Anyway, thanks for watching, whether you've subscribed or not. Let's go on and look at the viewer units. In line with our kind of overview strategy like I talked about before, pressing up the Mississippi River towards Cairo, I have made a Tennessee recruiting command down here at Memphis. Some of our viewer units are in there. So Samuel Cooper is in charge of that for now. Let's get started then. So we have got John B. Gordon with the 1st Georgia Regulars for Project Lest We Forget. A long-time viewer of the channel and a friend of the channel, of course. So here's his unit. Looking pretty dapper there in their usual uniforms. In terms of weapons, as I said in the write-up and stuff, we haven't got that many weapons available. So they're on mixed muskets for now, but we will upgrade those once they recruit in. We've got 19 days to wait for these guys. So weapons will be updated as they kind of crack on. Next up, we have got... Whoops. Double press that there. I didn't mean to. But we have got... Heros maybe? Von Bork. Or Borker. however you want to say that, I'm not sure. This is another viewer unit. Let's just have a quick look here. I've gone a bit old school. I've got bits of paper everywhere with with details on for the units. So this is for Sunflex Raven 9464 Heros von Bork, or Borker, however you say that. If you want to correct me in the comments, I'm fine with that. That is the German Volunteer Rangers from Texas. So these guys are coming into this unit in the center, where I'm expecting to see a lot of combat for these guys once they get in there. 26 days for these dudes. It is a regiment-sized unit only, so bear that in mind. All cavalry units that were requested will come in as regiments. Once we unlock the ability to have cavalry brigades, I will upgrade these to brigades and rename those brigades to these units, if that makes sense. Because I don't think you can actively change a regiment to a brigade in this game. So for now, cavalry units will be regiments, so that's 500 men. They should still be useful on the battlefield. What do we got here? So, yeah, Heros von Borker. Under the command of Colonel Heros von Borker, of course. The German Volunteer Rangers from Texas, serving in the Western Theater. Weapons requested are carbines, and I have given them the Maynard carbine, which is the only carbine we had available at the moment, and only just because we had 510. So you've been lucky and you've gotten a hold of those. Other than that, what do we know about Heros von Borker? He was born in South Carolina. Well, he arrived in Charleston, so I'm assuming he's like a German immigrant, I'm guessing. Who have we got next? We've got Strange Man's Brigade. Strange Man, a long-time viewer once again of the channel. We've been around since the very early days here. As have lots of people. I mean, please don't be affronted if I don't mention that every time. So that's for Strange Man 6737. And we've got Strange Man's Brigade out of Louisiana. Again, what have we got here? Outfits, you said any, but you wanted black shirts and white pants, which, you know, we've gone here. Well, black jackets. White pants, they're looking pretty cool, out of Louisiana. So those dudes, let's have a look, 18 days. So, well, more or less 3 weeks for all these guys. Next up, who have we got here? We've got Lee's Louisiana Rifles. Now, that was requested by Southern Ferrets. Did you mean Stephen D. Lee? He's the only Lee I can find in here, so I think that's the right guy. And I've put him in. He's not looking amazing, but he will get better, of course, as will all these guys, like Strange Man. I mean, he's looking pretty pants there, as all these dudes, but they will get better. But Gordon's not too bad. They will get better, obviously, as time progresses. But back to Stephen D. Lee. So, yeah, he says his great-great-great-great-grandfather fought under Lee in a Louisiana rifle company. Nice. That's Southern Ferrets. Lee's Louisiana Rifles. These boys are also going into this Tennessee Recruitment Command. Of course, we'll start putting them into divisions once they all come through. Who have we got next here? We've got the Austin Rhinos. They were requested. Austin Schumann, 8376. The Austin Rhinos from Texas. Didn't request a commander. I've given you William Steele. He's a pretty decent looking guy. Well, pretty dapper looking guy. Pretty decent looking commander. And again, this is a 500 man unit from Texas, of course. So they're coming in as well. And they're going to be 38 days, so a bit longer for those boys. Grimm's Wolves. Now, this is where I had the problem. I put Grimm in here. I put Grimm Saga. He's in the avatars list, but I cannot find him in this list. I don't know if I'm being a spanner or if I've got something wrong, but he is not here. Now, every other commander is here, but Grimm, I cannot find the avatar I've created for this dude. So, anyway, I've given you Grimm's Wolves from Tennessee. What else did you ask for? Let's have a look. Light brown uniform. So I've gone with a light brown top with the darker brown pants, which I think looks pretty cool. If you want the light brown pants, let me know and I'll change it over. You want them to have the cold steel perk. Well, when they get the perk, I will happily give them that perk, of course. But your avatar Grimm Saga, I don't know where he's gone. I've created him from Tennessee with West Point and Cavalry as requested, but he is not showing up, and I don't understand why not. If anybody knows, do let me know. And Grim, I've given you John Adams in the meantime. If there's someone else you want, let me know. This guy's from Tennessee, though, and he looks pretty decent. But if there's another one who you'd like, then just let me know. But I cannot find the avatar I've created. Like I say, every other one is there, but this one, I don't know why not, but he's not there. So that's Cooper's Tennessee Recruiting Command. That's 7,500 men getting recruited in there. I'll add a couple more artillery units in as well. Just as a quick aside, if you want a second unit in, just drop it in the comments and I'll stick a second unit in for you. We've got plenty of units to go around here. Okay, so next, we're in the Trans-Mississippi here, Carrollton. And I've made a little recruiting command here. There's not much in there. Pemberton's in charge of that for now. We have got the Greenville Grenadiers under William Cosgrove. Who requested that? That was MGMJ27. I'm not sure if you're a new viewer or not, but I don't recognize the username. I mean, if you're not, then that's obviously fine. William Cosgrove, I've given you this picture. I think he looks pretty cool. Born on January the 15th in Tennessee. He's a volunteer from the infantry. Again, the stats don't look amazing. I don't know why the stars don't translate over into the game once you've put them in, creating the avatar. But I don't know. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. But they will get better as they see combat, of course. So he's a volunteer from Tennessee, and these boys are serving in the Trans-Mississippi as requested. Grey tops. Yeah, you asked for grey field caps, but I mean you can't change the caps separately, so it's just whatever colour comes with them, and blue pants. I think they look pretty nice. Enfield rifle musket, but I mean we haven't got any of those. We've got a few Springfield rifles, a handful of Mississippi rifles, and some muskets, some Springfield muskets. So until we get an order in, that's it, I'm afraid. So again, they'll have to wait as well because they are still recruiting in. But I will obviously update weapons as they go. So that's the Greenville Grenadiers. And you asked for a second unit as well, the 15th Alabama, out of Alabama, in the Trans-Mississippi. Would be greatly appreciated. I'll put them into the next episode when I do the next round of recruits. So that's the Trans-Mississippi there. I've reorganized the Missouri State Guard into a couple of divisions. One under Rains and one under Pierce. We've got Colonel Jim Dandy with the Ozark Mountain Watch. That was requested by Randall Odell. Randall, again, he's been around a long time here on the channel. Lots of comments, which is always great, and lots of interaction. So you've got the Ozark Mountain Watch. This is your Jim Dandy avatar. He looks like he could be from there, I guess. His men are in brown. He looks good. And these guys should see some action pretty soon, I would imagine. Next up, in the Western Army, which is McCullough's force that's moving up from southern Arkansas, we've got the Yell County Rifles under Richard T. Whitewood, requested by none other than Dick White, who's, again, been around for, must be over a year now. Well over a year been around watching this channel, which is awesome. Thanks very much, Dick. I appreciate it. And you've got the Yell County Rifles here. 2,000 men under Richard T. Whitewood. Mixed muskets for now. I will, of course, give better weapons out when I'm getting around to the weapons. In fact, maybe I can give these guys some better weapons as we speak. You asked for Sharps rifles. I mean, obviously we haven't got them. And I'm going to give these boys Springfield muskets for now. So nothing amazing, but they are definitely better than that. Next up, Joseph Finnegan. Again, a little mistake by me here. I've made a spelling error, like a spanner. I've put Finnegan with an I instead of an E. So apologies for that. Joseph Finnegan for Caleb Crisp, 2835. The 10th Tennessee Irish. Mississippi Rifles are requested, and Mississippi Rifles you have got here. There you go. That's half our stock gone. The 10th Tennessee Irish. Dark green jackets and black pants. Going for that rifles look, I guess. So there we are. Colonel Joseph Finnegan with his 10th Tennessee Irish. They in Polk's Command. I don't know why it's flicked to there, but that's where we're at. Polk's Command. That's here, right in the centre. But, I mean, I'm reorganising this anyway. Let's move across to the Eastern Theatre now. We've got a recruiting command on the go. Under Charles Clark, 2,750 men here. We've got Colonel Johann Spindler. Colonel Johann Spindler with the Hessian Dragoons. Requested by Steve Spindler, 2088. Johann Spindler was born on the 17th of November, 1830, from Tennessee. He asked for these boys to serve in the Eastern Theatre, and he's got his wish. These guys are recruiting in, and they will be 34 days. He says he would love Spencers or sharp carbines, but he realises those won't be available at the start. Yes, that is indeed correct. We've got nothing really. We've got some Springfield musketoons, but again, I'm going to give those to the guys serving at the front, since your boys are still recruiting in. They'll have to wait a little bit. And he says, he goes on to say, uniforms, green coat, white pants, and black boots. So again, we can't really do that. We can do, of course, green coats, white pants, black boots. I can't change the boot colour, so there we are. And you can't change the hat colour. So that'll have to do for now. He says, my ancestor fought for the British as a Hessian dragoon during the Revolutionary War, and when the war ended, he became an American and settled in Tennessee. His grandson fought in the Civil War as a cavalry officer for the Confederacy under Stuart. That's awesome. I love that kind of family history. I've done my whole family tree back, and it's some interesting stuff in there. It's definitely a hobby of mine. Just something to note for your campaign as well. Cavalry charges are much more devastating since the most recent patch. Can wipe out whole units if you time them right. So I'll probably time them wrong, but I will certainly try. Why has this gone back to Pox command? Anyway, yeah, so that's some pretty cool info. That's nice to know that you've done your family history research. That's awesome. Let's go on to the next unit. Scrivers Brigade. This was just requested. No other real details given. Requested by Anders Scrivers. 8132. So there you are. Scrivers Brigade. They are from North Carolina. They will get different weapons once they are recruited in into the recruiting command in the East. I had a request from McCures Janusek. Apologies if I'm saying that name wrong. You've also been around for a long time on here. You've asked for the Confederate Bohemian Legion from Virginia. I've got no recruits from Virginia. None at all. So they will have to wait until the next round of recruits come in. Unless you just want me to change the name of a unit, which I can do. I mean, we've got these boys here under early. 2,640. I suppose I could just do that now. Oh, yes, I didn't do that. I didn't do it not just because of this. I did it because you asked for them to be in the Western Theatre. And I've literally got nobody to move over there. I can't weaken the Eastern Front at the moment. So I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll put these boys in here for now. And once I get some more Virginia recruits, I'll put them in the Western Theatre for you. Which will obviously be more in line with what you'd like for your Confederate Bohemian Legion. Also, you've asked for the Richmond or Whitworth rifle. I mean, obviously, Whitworths we haven't got, and Richmond rifles we may not have, but I'll give them some sort of rifle at some point. Okay, so I've got another problem. You've asked for John H. Kelly. I am not seeing John H. Kelly. So there is no John H. Kelly in game, unless I'm missing him somewhere. No John H. Kelly, I'm afraid, so I don't have him. If you want somebody else, let me know. Moving on. This is the Army of the Potomac. That's the Confederate Army of the Potomac. I've reorganized these guys into 3 divisions. We've got Longstreet's division, Jackson's division, and Hughes's division. And let's have a look here then. So we've got the Fredericksburg Home Guard under Stephen R. Harper. You've asked for Enfield rifles or Sharps rifles. Again, obviously we haven't got them, but eventually we may well have Enfields, which I'm planning on getting. Sharps, probably. We'll see when that develops. So we've got Stephen R. Harper. He was born in October 1827, that's October the 19th, in Ireland, but he moved to Fredericksburg, Virginia when he was 10 years old. I hope this would be awesome if this was actually a family ancestor or something like that. That would be great if that actually is. If you want to confirm that in the comments, that would be awesome. That is for Stephen Polizzi, 126. He joined the army at 18 and fought in Mexico and ended the war as a captain. By 1859, at the age of 32, he was made a colonel, which is what he is at the start of the war. So a professional soldier in the infantry branch with 3 stars and everything, but fame. Again, I've done that, but it doesn't transcribe into the game. So Colonel Stephen Harper with 1 star in everything. He'll get better. Don't worry about it. Again, we'll sort out better weapons as the time comes. Let's move on to the next unit. We've got Colonel Frederick J. Beck. J stands for Johann, I think. Oh, Johannes. Sorry, Johannes. So we've got the Confederate Danish Legion. I've made them from Mississippi. I've just changed the name of a unit because we're running a bit low on manpower. So Colonel Frederick J. Beck. Let's see what we've got about him. So Johannes is for the J. He's born on November the 14th, 1804. So he's getting on a bit. He can be from anywhere, since I don't think Denmark is part of the USA yet. It's not. I can't remember where I made him from. It doesn't show up, but it doesn't really matter. And he's from the infantry, and he's professional, which, you know, he's got here. So he's infantry, professional, colonel, and he's got West Point. But why is it 1 star and everything? I don't know. So that is the Danish Legion. I think I've got everybody here. Let's see. I'll just have a quick look through and make sure I haven't missed anything out. Yeah, so I've gone through everybody. So apologies for Joseph Finnegan misspelling and Grim Saga. I do not know what happened to that avatar. It's not there. So I can only apologise. If you want a different commander, just let me know, somebody. And then we've also... well, we've just got that problem with the Confederate Bohemian Legion. But other than that, everyone is in who's asked for it. So Confederate Bohemian Legion, we'll sort that out at some point soon. Right, so now after all this time, I mean, this is, believe it or not, this is actually taking about 3 hours for me to do. I know it's just a blink of an eye when you're watching the video, but when you're doing this, it takes ages. So what else have I done in between? So I've replaced all the garrison commanders from the default game commanders to some other commanders. So I put decent-ish commanders into these 3 forts because they're obviously important. I've got Pond there in charge of Fort Donaldson. Crutchfield is in charge of Fort Henry, and Fort Hyman is under Drayton. Other than that, I've just put political officers in all of these. So like pretty much the dregs of the people that I could find. A few of them are half decent, but most of them are just really crap. So they've gone into these forts. And another thing I'm going to do, I think, is I'm going to strip a couple of these forts. I've got 12-pounder guns in, so I'm going to take them out. Yeah, so Fort Pulaski's got 12-pound Napoleons. Only 4 of them, but still, they're going to come in handy. Fort Macon, again, 6 12-pounders. I mean, that's a decent battery for this stage of the game. And Fort Johnson. So I'm going to strip these guys out. I'm going to send them off to the front lines, and I'm going to replace these with smaller units of artillery with 6-pound field guns. So I'm just going to do that now, and then I'll cut back in. Alright, so I just moved them out of the recruiting commands. We really don't need them. If there's a full-scale Union attack on these forts, then those 4 guns are not going to help anything. But an extra battery of guns in our field armies at this stage of the war could well make a difference. So we'll just rename these. I'm just going to replace them with an artillery officer. Okay, so that's that. I've replaced those commanders. Let's just have a little look here. Like I say, it's going to be a slow-going kind of play through this, so it's already racking up the time here. But it's nice to actually be able to start the actual gameplay here. So let's just have a little look. The Army of the Shenandoah, I've also kind of split these into little divisions. So it makes it easier to command in the field. I'm going to go through and we're going to upgrade some weapons. But first of all, policies. We're going to go for Militia Act 2. 26.3 days. It's going to get us some more recruits, which is just what we need, and longer contracts. And we're going to have a look at supply. So the supply situation is not amazing, particularly here where I was saying we're going to be working on getting more supply into the region. So I'm going to build a supply depot at Jackson. Well, I'm going to do that when we can get some guys to Jackson, so soon. Well, can we build any supply anywhere useful? Can we make these guys build some supply at Carrollton? That would be really useful. We can't, because I guess there's nobody there yet, so that makes sense. Let's give orders to the Western Army to start moving up towards the Missouri State Guard. That's always a nice start. Got plenty of supply out here in the east, so that's not too bad. This tiny force, the Army to the Northwest, they're going to need some new recruits. That's for damn sure. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually recruit a couple extra units into here. It's a shame West Virginia is so low on support, but it might be a nice way to try this out. So I'm going to try it out, actually. I'm going to try, support 35. So if I bring a cavalry unit in here from West Virginia, they're going to have 35 morale. I really can't remember if that's the way it works. I'm gonna recruit a little tiny unit, so 250 men, just to see how it is. Support 35. Yeah, I think that's it. Does that mean they're going to start with 35 morale? I can't remember if that's how it works. If it is, that's a bit of a problem. But if, you know, let's see. 56 days for that. Let me go ahead and order an infantry unit from Alabama. 2,250 men. Braxton Bragg? I don't think so. So we've got good commanders here to give out to army commands as we move on. Obviously, we've got Lee, we've got Albert Sidney Johnston, Van Dorn, who's a favourite of mine, even though he sucks. I just like him. I don't know why. Sibley, no thanks. Okay, so let's go with Bushrod Johnston. He'll be fine. Ah, no. Let's give it a John Bell Hood. No, I'm going to keep him, actually. I'm going to keep him for a Texas command. I'm not sure why exactly, but I know historically he did command troops from there. Ruggles or Bushrod Johnston? Let's go with Bushrod Johnston. There we go. So Scrivers Brigade, I think I'm going to send them to this force, to the Army of the Northwest. The rest will distribute up to the north. So we've got Magruder here as well with his Hampton division. Not much there in the way of an army. But I'm going to move him back towards Richmond, and we're going to build a fort at Richmond. So that's going to be Magruder's first job. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to move the Army of the Shenandoah to be next to the Army of the Potomac, so those guys are there together. We can't do any of this yet, so like funding for different weapons and organisation and things there, we can't do that yet. We haven't got any money in that. So what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to start funding some of this. So politics is just fine as it is. Agriculture, let's put a little bit into agriculture. Industry, I'm going to do a little bit more, get up to medium. Military, now obviously military is quite important when you're in the war. Let's get that up to pretty high. Diplomacy up a little bit, not too much, because obviously we don't want to bankrupt ourselves too early on. So we've got a bit of this going on here. Polk's command, let's get rid of Polk. He's one of these useless guys. I'm going to change this over for Albert Sidney Johnston, and let's call this the Army of Tennessee. Dick White had some good ideas for unit names, which I will start implementing as we get into the game a bit more and we have a few more troops on the field. But for now, I'm actually going to start pressing play, and we're going to actually start this game. Alright, so we're just about ready to go here, and I'll be perfectly honest, this is the second time round I'm doing this. I've already played this once. It was an absolute disaster, untenable. So I've had to go back to this point here, and we're restarting actually. So this is the next day that I'm recording this from the previous cut. But I will also put the disaster start on as a separate video just to show you how bad that was. I got my arse whooped basically, and it made the whole situation untenable. So we're going to try again here. Hopefully it'll work out better and it'll be playable, because the way it was previously, this would have been over, not by Christmas, but probably by the end of July. And that doesn't make for a good playthrough. But I thought I'd be honest with you guys and say that I messed this up the first time around. So we're going to go again and hopefully do a little better. So policies, we're going for Militia Act 2. I've pumped a bit of money into the finances. We've shuffled some guys around. And now all that's left to do is upgrade some weapons. And we're all good to go. I've upgraded a handful of these. I don't want to give out too many of the good weapons, if I'm honest. I'll give the viewer units here the Confederate Danish Legion. I'm going to upgrade those guys to Springfield muskets for now. I'd like at least one unit in the division to have decent weapons. So Bonham's got Mississippi rifles. We'll just leave Holmes as 1,400 men with mixed muskets. Ewell's 2nd Brigade, they can stay as they are as well. Early 6th Brigade. Evans has got Mississippi, so that's alright. Oh, and back to the Confederate Bohemian Legion. When I've reloaded it up, these guys aren't that, whichever ones I had earlier. Was it Early or Ewell? I can't remember, one or the other. I changed over to be the Confederate Bohemian Legion. But just let me know where you want them, and I'll put them in the next video. But like I say, there's no recruits to create a new unit in the West for those. So we've got Magruder with his Hampton Division. They're moving across towards Richmond. I've transferred Mahoney, I'm not sure how you say his name, from the Norfolk garrison into Magruder's force. It's only 1,000 men, Enfield rifle armed. But that would take him up to almost 2,500 men, which, you know, is still not many, but it's a bit better than his 1,000. We've got 8,170 men recruiting into the Eastern Recruiting Command. A couple of units of cavalry here, some infantry, and I'm transferring some of the artillery from the forts into here. So these guys are from a fort garrison. I've moved them out, and I've replaced the fort garrisons either with small cavalry units. I mean, obviously, ideally, I'd rather have infantry in there, but since 1,500 is the smallest infantry unit, I figured if I just pop a cavalry unit in here from West Virginia, you know, I mean, they're going to take a while to get in there. They're going to have low support, but it's all right. It means we've got little garrison troops, little garrison cavalry units dotted around here and there. All right, so other than that, I think we're just good to go here. It was a bit of a shock to the system what happened in the last episode, so I mean, I hope you'll enjoy watching it. It was actually an interesting video, and had it not been as disastrous as it would have been great to carry it on, but you'll see why I can't carry that one on. But like I say, I will release that video just after this one. Probably, I'll call it like disaster start or the worst start possible or something like that. But this is going to be the series carrying on as is. So we've got the Army of Tennessee here. That's going to be our main campaigning force, probably, as we're pushing up in towards Cairo, like we were saying. But I might reorganize again. We've got 7,000 men recruiting into the Tennessee Recruiting Command. We've renamed these guys the Florida Detachment, suggested by Dick White. We've called these guys out here the Kanawha District. We've got the Valley Command or something like that. Yeah, the Valley Command out here under Joe Johnston. And I've renamed this the Army of Virginia. I just didn't like it being called the Army of Potomac. And I didn't want to call it the Army of Northern Virginia because it's not that yet. Then we've got the Recruiting Command and the Hampton Division. So that's all that. One thing I do want to do, and I'm not sure if I'd already done it in the previous recording session. If I did, apologies, but it hasn't come through on the save because I saved it obviously at a different point. I'm going to make a little flotilla here on the Mississippi. So I'm going to go ahead and just do that now. Under Hollins, I'm going to pop a schooner in there. CSS Rappahannock, CSS Sumter, and that's it for now. We'll let these guys build up and we'll maybe pop them in as well. So just a small fleet here. Send them up the river. Hopefully they can cause a nuisance of themselves. Anyway, so what's McDowell going to have for us? That's the big question. I'm just shifting the Valley Command into the eastern area of Virginia because I want these two armies combined, because McDowell has got somewhere like 35,000 men or something. 33,000 men. It's going to be 42,000. So it's a huge force. We can only field 18,500 there, with about 10,000 in the Valley Command. Plus, of course, we've got Magruder down here with about 2,500, which is not many. And the soonest time we can get recruits is 16 days. So possibly we're going to see combat before that. And that's Scriver's Brigade under Iverson. I've combined a couple of these Florida brigades and I'm moving them up, transferring them under Anderson. They're 21 days away though, but those 2,400 men will certainly be welcome when they arrive. So I've just thought, actually, why am I moving him? Why move the Hampton Division to Richmond? I'm going to move the Hampton Division to Fredericksburg instead. And we will construct a fort at Fredericksburg to hopefully protect this crossing. That's the theory. I mean, let's see, but it all depends on what McDowell does here. So I'm going to press play. We're going to get started. And I'm a little bit worried because I did get my butt kicked last time. Really badly. I won't spoiler it too much about the disaster because I think some of you guys might like watching that, so I won't tell you what they did. But I hope he doesn't do the same thing here, because if he does, we are in a world of hurt. No, it looks like he's doing something different. Okay, so last time he did something else. And like I say, I won't give it away too much. Let's just give it a quick pause here. I just thought I'd quickly check these weapons for the Valley Command, because I can't remember. Okay, so one unit has got decent weapons per detachment. So yeah, we've got £10 of parrots for these guys as well, and £6 field guns. They can just stay with those. Let's just have a quick look at the artillery in Beauregard's force. They're both still on the 6er field guns, which is not great. So one lot's going to be £24 howitzers. The others are going to retain their 6-pounders. I'm going to reposition the Kanawha district. I think you say Kanawha. Is that right? If it's wrong, let me know in the comments, please. I'm going to send them towards Charleston, Virginia. That's Hampton on the move. Hampton Division, even. John B. Magruder. Alright, so it looks like McDowell's heading up here to link up with the Department of Pennsylvania. That's fine. It does mean we're leaving the valley open a little here. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to actually cancel his orders. I'm just going to get him to stay at Winchester. We'll keep Joe Johnston there. Not that his 10,000 men can do very much. But it's better to have some troops over there. Oh, what's going on here? I can't remember, but did President Space used to pause this game? It didn't there. I can't remember. It's been a while. We've issued bonds again already, which is not good. Confederacy today issued $25 million bonds on the public debt markets at a current interest rate of 7.78%. That's pretty bad. The transaction was necessary to cover the gap in the treasury of the nation. The total debt outstanding now some $65 million. We've got an AA rating. Actually, we've got A plus according to this, but yep, you know, money's always going to be tight here for the Confederacy. The Western Army is moving up to link up with the Missouri Division, which I've renamed the Missouri State Guard as the Missouri Division. I just thought it seemed a bit better. These 300 guys are from Fort Smith, so I've called them the Fort Smith Volunteers. I'm going to join them together with, let me just show you what I've done. I have scraped all the little tiny Texas garrisons. They've only got 8-month contracts anyway. I've scraped these out. They're only 50-man units. I'm going to combine them into one and then send them up there, and they're going to combine with the Fort Smith guys. So we're going to have another little kind of regiment-sized brigade. We can't combine them until they're there. They're going to be 5 days and 7 days. So once they arrive at the Trans-Missouri Recruiting Command, we'll join them together, send them to the Missouri Division, and whack them all in together into Rains' volunteer brigade. So it'll still only be about 600 men or so. But at this stage, it's handy to have any extra men, to be honest. Once McCullough and his Western Army get up here, we will start moving up towards Springfield, and we're going to stay there, I think. We'll build probably a depot at Springfield, and we're going to stay there for now. For the moment, it is the Eastern Theatre that I'm worried about. Simply because of the manpower the Union has here. So 18,000 men there. And like we know, 33,000 in the Army of Northeastern Virginia under McDowell. Just got to ×5 this. I don't want to go too fast. Got some movement out here. I think it's just a fleet on the move. That's okay. Magruder's on the march. Looks like Patterson is... Oh, I thought he was going to come down into the valley. It looks like he's coming across towards Washington. And then possibly going to link up with McDowell and cross over towards Alexandria. I mean, that would make sense, but I don't know if that's what they're doing. I'm tempted to move up towards Alexandria with Beauregard's army just to see what happens. Nice. So that's Magruder boarded some trains. Mahoney must be almost there. Still 2 days away. Joe Johnston has arrived at Winchester. Little concerning we can't see either of their armies. Let's move Joe Johnston up towards Harper's Ferry. Although I am aware that's now putting more of a gap between the two armies. Well, I say armies. Corps. Magruder has arrived at Fredericksburg. Okay, so just going to pause it a second. To construct a fort is 15 million. But I think a fort at this crossing would be a good idea. Oh, it's actually 25 million. Well, it is what it is. I mean, I think a fort here would be pretty good, and we're going to man that with probably somewhere around 4,000 or 5,000 men. Apologies once again about Finnegan. It's really bugging me that I've spelled that wrong. Every time I see it now, it's annoying me. So nothing doing, nothing's changed here. Militia Act 2 still 24.6 days away, so I mean we're still in the very early days here. Our little fleet's still assembling. They'll not be long, I don't think. I've just been thinking maybe instead of bringing them up the Mississippi, I might send them down onto these trade nodes down here and blockade them. What about these guys? Can they do that maybe? Well, yeah, they could. They could indeed. The Lake Pontchartrain Squadron? Pontchartrain? Is that how you say it? Pontchartrain? Pontchartrain? I don't know. I don't know. So nothing doing yet. They haven't come down. They haven't come down into Virginia. They're still on their own lands. Let's get this back to ×5. I don't want to go too fast. I don't want to miss anything. We are on the march north, but if the Army of Virginia is engaged, we will pull back. I mean, I will not risk Beauregard fighting alone. If we had some more cavalry, it'd be nice to have a cavalry force that we could send up here. I'm also concerned that we can't see McDowell, actually. So where the heck have they gone? Oh. There's McDowell. Okay, so we need the Valley Command out of there. And we will bring Beauregard across as well to hopefully meet up at Winchester. I'm not sure if they'll get their orders in time. Oh, yeah, we can't fight that. We've got 10,000 men, he's got 32,000. So we're going to withdraw. And I hope he can get back in an orderly fashion. You better be withdrawn towards Winchester, my friend. I was tempted to burn down the depot, but I think it's a mistake if we did that. Because we may well... actually, let's see if we can. Yeah, we burned it down. I mean, we can build a new one. I feel like that's more important for them. Because we're going to have probably a depot down here somewhere around... Is it Lynchburg? Stanton. I'm not sure how you say it. Whatever it is, we're going to have a depot down there. That should keep us supplied in the valley. You just pull back towards the south, my friend. Not this way. Not this way. Not towards South Branch Bridge. Alright, so Mahoney's now arrived at Magruder. So there's now 2,500 men here at least. So there's a small force blocking the way just in case Patterson goes crazy and decides to come down and invade us. Joe Johnson has actually stopped now, which is great. But where's he going? See what's happening elsewhere. Not much. McCullough's almost arrived. We're not sure where the Union forces are here exactly. We know the Army of the West is trooping around somewhere here. Oh, we've actually got control of Springfield. That's good. They're constructing a fort up at Rolla. The first of our little garrisons has arrived from Texas. Again, I've replaced them with little artillery units and things like that. Small cavalry units and artillery in some places. Obviously, I know that cavalry is not ideal for a fort, but yeah, it'll do. It'll do for now. So it looks like possibly our first showdown could be in the Shenandoah Valley. Oh, we've lost the Manassas Depot. How is that? Pretty annoying. He's coming back across. I can never tell which one is selected. Is it selected if it's red? Well, alright. So this is going to be our first showdown. It's a little bit... It's not how I wanted it, really. I should have probably not moved the Valley Command forward. But I think it suits us just fine. We're gonna go ahead and we're going to fight this. And we're going to fight this in the next episode. So there's going to be a showdown in the valley. And remember, check out the disaster video. I'll load this up. It'll be either on later today or tomorrow morning. The disaster start, which I couldn't carry on. But this looks like a good fight. So sort of around 28,000 of our boys. We've got 300 cavalry. They've got no cavalry. We've got 16 guns. They've got 30. And 32,000 infantry. So reasonably close. It's the first combat for most of these guys, and it's going to be a difficult one, I dare say. So tune in for the next episode. I'll try and have that out later this week, but if not, it'll be out on Monday coming. Regular episodes will drop on a Monday. Sometimes I'll try and get a second episode in the week, but I might not always manage it. But I will try. So, it's McDowell versus Beauregard. Let's get into this.